Hi guys, my name is Casey Smith and I decided to do my strategy demonstration on spelling games. I decided to do 4th grade spelling. 4th grade is kind of the grade that I hope to teach when I graduate with my degree. The games that I chose for this demonstration is Word Board, and I'll show you a picture of that in a little bit, and Boggle, which I also have another example of, the sheet that I would be using. These would be over a course of 2 days, and the way I was thinking in my head, it would be like day one of it would be Wednesday, and then the second day Thursday, so we could have a spelling test on Friday. And they're 35 minutes each, so that gives students plenty of time each day. The learning outcome would be that students will be able to spell their words correctly, the words that are said aloud to them in the game. I'll go over the rules with you on the board game in a few minutes. If they don't spell a word correctly, then they will not be able to move forward in the game. And if they don't move forward, they don't move on. The assessment is just, I would be observing students and what they spell, how they spell, and if they excel at the more difficult words or if they help with the difficult words, and just stuff like that. The Common Core is knowing and applying the grade level phonics and word analysis skills and decoding words, just basically beginner stuff. Right when you get to reading, knowing what your words are and knowing how to pronounce them and spell them. This would be a formative assessment. The summative, I would say, would be a spelling test at the end of the week on a Friday. The materials and supplies that I would need would be three board games, because in my head I'm picturing having like 12 students, and so I would have 3 dice for each group, so there would be 3 groups of 4. I would have 12 different game pieces. Each student gets 1. That should say 3 decks of cards containing the spelling words. One for each one, so that students can read them off to each other to spell. And then I would have 12 Boggle sheets, because once they are done with this, students will be working independently on these sheets, trying to earn extra points and see if they can find the words in them to get a sense of that type of spelling. Spelling words that I chose are ground, frown, downtown, bounced, council, scout, counter, background, bound, amount, mountain, county, allowance, counselor, discount, countless, rebound, surrounded, and astounding. And as you can see, they all have that ow sound, the OU or the OW. There's a couple of them that I would expect students to have a bit of trouble with, like astounding and probably counselor and allowance. They would probably get confused with the OW and the OU and the spelling, so that's something that they would need to work on. So this is the picture of the board game that I chose on Google. The directions are: on your turn, the player to your left will read you a card containing a spelling word. So they would have the deck of cards, and it would go, like, you really can't see my mouse, but I'm assuming it's like right around here somewhere, I hope. And they would obviously go there. The student would spell the word out loud. If they are correct, they will roll the die and move ahead. If not, they'll need to stay where they are. The first to finish wins the game. So we have like a picture of the dice, a die right there, and they have like the go back to start or go ahead to go back one, lose a turn, so it's like not da 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 and you're at the finish line, which I really like. Here's a picture of Boggle that they would sit down and do independently. I can't really read the directions, it's very blurry, but I'm sure most of you have played Boggle before. You can go backwards, you can go diagonal, down, sideways to find a word. And on the side it has, if you get like a 2-letter word, you have 1 point. If it's a 3-letter word, you have 2 points. Excuse me, and so on and so forth. So the way I decided I would do it is that after so many points of doing this, they can add them up and then give me their results. I would obviously look them over to make sure they didn't miss anything. And for their spelling test on Friday, it would be added as extra credit. So for the procedures for day 1, I have it like every few minutes. So like we would begin our class at 10:45 in the morning, and I will arrange them into their 3 groups of 4 at specified areas in the classroom. So they'd probably be at like 1 corner each or something. The students would comply and make their way to their assigned group and area. At 10:48, I would pass out the board games and game pieces. I would probably have a student help me out with each of these because students do enjoy having a chore to do. The deck of spelling cards and the dice to each group. I'd settle down and pick one of the game pieces to use for themselves so that they can identify their game piece and where they are at in the game. At 10:50, I would read them the directions that I just read to you and make sure they understood what was going on, because we all know that students, even adults, get sidetracked and don't listen or something, so they don't understand what's going on or what they're supposed to be doing. The students would hopefully listen to the directions so that they understood. 10:55, I would have them already be playing the game. I would observe them, I would listen to them, make sure that they're cooperating with one another, listening for how they're spelling the words, if they're getting them right. I would also inform them that if, like, they do finish early, like if one person wins, then they can move on, but then the other 3 have to finish until they get to the finish line. That's just so not everybody's rushing or something. It's not really all about winning, it's just getting to the finish line with this game. At 11:15, I would instruct students to start picking up and to make note of where they left off if they were still playing the game. And they would have to follow directions and pick up their stuff. The differentiation lower level, they would learn how to play the game and make it to the end of the game board, the finish line. The above level or the upper level, they would correctly spell the words read aloud in order to move ahead in the game. For day 2 at 10:45 a.m., I'd pass around the board games to the groups who haven't finished, then pass out the Boggle games to the students who had finished the board game in the previous day. If there were like 1 student from each group, I would have them group up and play together. Or I would help them out if need be an extra player, and observe that way. I would only give them about 10 minutes or so to finish playing that game before I move them on to play Boggle, so that they can get that done and have time to get some words to help them get extra credit for their spelling test. At 11:10, after about 15 minutes or so of playing, I'd instruct the students to add up all of their points that they got on Boggle from all the words that they found in the box and tell them to hand them in so that they can be added to their grade. The differentiation lower level for Boggle would be to search for the smaller words to write down, and the above level would be finding the bigger words and then adding up all of their points in order to receive the extra credit. I wouldn't give them homework for the night for spelling just because they have a spelling test the next day. So I would probably send them home with the list and have them look over it in case there's anything that they need more help on. They can ask their parents or something, like with the OU and the OW and the pronunciations and such. And these are my references. Thank you very much.